All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's South Edge Live. It's Friday. It's not Friday Follies, but it's still a Friday. We're gonna get through the rest of the gambling series in like a couple of days. I was actually prepping last night. I prepped out today's W, of course. I did X, Y, and Z last night, so I'm ready to go for next week. We're gonna finish the series out next week, and then I was planning out. Actually, I had some fun with this. I was thinking about how much fun the ABCs have been for me to kind of, and it's hard, right? I was going to do like one word a day for each letter, but you find there's too many things. Last night I was sketching out this idea of doing the ABCs of YouTube influencers in gambling, right? Well, boy, that's hard to find. It's not hard to find people for every letter. It was actually pretty easy. There is somebody for every letter except for Q. It's getting it down to manageable because like for C, you've got Color Up, you've got Casino Quest, you've got Craps Master Journey, you've got, there's so many of like C's, so many B's for blackjack, right? A lot of slots, a lot of gamble, fill in the word after, So it may end up being the ABCs of gambling influencers might end up being a long series because I think there's going to be 4 or 5 sometimes people for each letter. That's okay. I think we got to cover who I think is important to cover with that one. And, we're going to miss people obviously, but you can't have 35 C's. So it's going to be probably scope it down to 5 and we'll interview them, do a whole show with each person kind of a thing. And it could be a lot of fun, I think, because there's people out there that I know through email, but don't know personally. You know what I'm saying? Like the women at now I'm losing my train of thought. Vegas Aces, they're great, right? We're friends on LinkedIn and that kind of thing, but never actually talked to them. So I think meeting people for me will be kind of cool, and I think that's part of the magic of interviewing is when you don't know the person. So should be fun. I also scoped out the ABCs of craps, the ABCs of blackjack, the ABCs of baccarat, the ABCs of roulette, and the ABCs of video poker last night. I was up a little bit late and I got into a rabbit hole. So I've got all my topics figured out for all those shows too. Same thing. You end up finding that within the game, there's multiple things that have the same letter. So instead of doing one show for each letter, it's going to be a show, maybe 2 for each letter. We'll see. Should be fun. Good morning to Ian, by the way. Nice job last night. You all watch the Casino Tears podcast last night, the live broadcast? That's actually when I watched that, that's very much what it's like to film with them. So I did a podcast with them on the state of Washington gambling, I don't know, 2-3 months ago. And the session that I had with Ed and Tenton was exactly like the podcast you're watching without all the graphics. It's just you're sitting there talking, very personal, very easy to listen to. Like I said, those guys, like I think Leon even said it last night. That's his he listens to them while he mows his lawn. I listen to them when I walk the dogs. Like I love me a good podcast that and the way that those guys frame things, by the way, I think is good. It's different than this show here because I'm showing you stuff, right? But in those kind of shows, I just like being able to picture what they're saying, and you don't need to think about bets you're seeing, or you don't need to think about the words on the screen. They do a really good job of just describing stuff that in a way you can picture that in your mind. So I love the storytelling. Anyway, let's jump in. Let's jump in and get started with an actual show today. And before we do, remember the mantra, right? The competitive relationship between you and the casinos, right? I don't want to say they don't like you. They do love you. They love you. They love all your money. They want all your money. They want you to come there all the time and hang out with you so they can take all your money. They're there to bankrupt you. That's the business model, is to bankrupt their customers. Now, I'm not saying that as though they are bad people, right? And I'm not saying it as though it's not a great business model, because it is. I'm not saying that because I think we should not go anymore, because I don't, right? It's a fun time. Good time was had by all, right? But just know that the business model of a casino is to take all of your money. That's it. They're not there to help you in any way possible. And as we've been through the ABCs of gambling, hopefully you've seen, and I've been highlighted myself even, to how some of these games really work behind the scenes and just how nefarious some of the side bets are, and the way that the casino views their customers and things that they do to keep you there or help you to make bad decisions. It's a little bit eye-opening. And I can tell you this, if I ever and I will someday. My dream, as you know, is to open my own casino, Casino John, right? We will be in the business of taking all your money. Make no mistake about it. But we'll be upfront about it. I'm not going to put bullshit blackjack out there. It's going to be a 3-2 game. We're going to put regular craps. We're going to have happy hour in craps where there's no odds or free odds everywhere. We're going to do things for the player. We're going to put fair games out there. And I just feel like you can make money without screwing people. And I'm going to try and prove that. When I have my own casino someday, I'm going to prove that you can make money in this business without taking the extra step that I think casinos take nowadays. So that's my rant. And maybe we'll do a whole series of shows on what Casino John looks like. Wouldn't it be kind of fun, like a Casino John planning week? I have so many ideas for what to do on shows now. It's like I had like this awakening a few weeks back. Got some good stuff. All right, I see. Oh, CCC, you're on the wrong feed again. Yeah, I'll explain that feed later on so you understand what happened. But the vertical horizontal thing, the software is not streaming the vertical anymore. I'm not sure why. So I had to delete and restart. So sorry about that. All right, what are the tools you have? Somebody say it in chat. What are the tools we have to fight the casinos? Right, to keep ourselves somewhat okay. Right, it's the bridge. I like the word bridge because it gets me to these words, right? Your bankroll, your risk, your ability to identify things, time to leave, time to play, discipline, goals, and emotions. All these things I think play together. I love Lou. Louis gave us focus as another acronym. I think acronyms help us to not forget things. And you'll notice here in the bridge, you'll notice when I get into I might switch this slide one day and do some focus exercises with you. None of it's tactical. None of it is the strategy you play. Strategies are a thing. None of success in the casino has to do with strategy. None of it. It has to do with luck. It has to do with variance. It has to do with how you operate in the moment. It has to do with you. You're the reason why you win or lose, right? You get lucky sometimes, sure. What you do when you're lucky and unlucky is really the difference maker. So, I think getting your head right, getting your mind right, getting your soul, your center right is, I think, one of the big keys. So with all that said, let's jump in and get to the ABCs. So the ABCs, again, is a series that we're doing. We're on letter W today. We're almost done, where we've taken the world of gambling and gone letter by letter and found interesting topics that start with a letter that we can kind of talk through. And it's led us down some pretty interesting roads. Today, as I said, we're on the letter W. And we're going to confront today, what does it mean to win? Like, I want to talk about winning a little bit, right? And a lot of people think it's about the results, leaving with more money than you came. But I've seen a lot of players who win one night and give it right back the next night. And they're not really winners. They're just kind of variance personified. They're passing through, right? Real winning is about framework, and it's understanding why you play, having the right mindset, being willing to do what most players aren't, discipline, able to walk away, learning from every session, win or lose. So today we're going to build some of that framework. That's what I'd like to do anyway. So let's hop on in and answer the first question, which is why you play. And I want, think about this in chat, and you can put it in chat. And I think it's cathartic to do this, by the way, as I'm talking. If you have a reaction to what I'm saying, say it in chat, put it in the comments. Why do you gamble? What is it? Ken from Ken Knows Gambling, good friend of mine, right? Every show he starts and he says, the best bet in the house is never to make a bet because gambling sucks. That's his kind of tagline. Yet he goes to the casino, right? I say it every day. The casino's out there to bankrupt you, yet I go to the casino. Okay. What is it about you? Why do you want to gamble? Why do you do it? Okay. And I don't want to know why you tell people you want to gamble. Like, why do you actually go and sit down and put your hard-earned money or your retirement money at risk? What's the reason for it, right? And a quick test you can go through is think about your last 3 visits. What was the feeling right before you walked in? When you're walking into the door, were you excited to be there? Were you relieved to finally be there? Were you feeling like, I can turn off the world and escape for a little bit? That feeling is the real motivation. And it determines a lot about how you set things up, right? Are you an entertainment player? Right? By the way, I'm gonna pause in here because Waylon just says it, right? Waylon has the aggressive mindset, right? I gotta beat him at their own game. I love doing it. I love that, man. That's you're there as an attack dog, which is fantastic, right? But some people are entertainment. They want to just have fun, have a good old time. You got to price it like that. Okay? Decide what the experience is worth before you walk in. Like a concert or a good dinner, right? I went to a Seahawks game, right? The other week, and we were going to go the next week, and it was like $1,500. I'm like, is it worth $1,500 to drive to Seattle and go to a game? Right? I had to make that decision. You make that decision in the casino. Is it worth $1,500 to get out of your car and walk into a building where you're going to throw the $1,500 away? You got to know that answer to that question, right? If that's the case, match that game to your budget. $10 blackjack player, playing right strategy, losing an average of $5 an hour. The $10 roulette player will lose about $25 an hour. Same bet size, different time, different burn rates, different levels of excitement. Blackjack is a boring game. Roulette's an exciting game, right? So you think about what you want to experience when you get there. Are you there to be social, right? Play the games that your group is playing, right? Enjoying the table, have the camaraderie, but you got to put a guardrail on that, right? Social players overbet typically because they match what's going on. They match the energy. They match their players. Your buddy's betting 50. You can afford 15. Sometimes you go up to $25 to kind of bet the same color. Play your own number in that situation, right? Nobody worth playing with gives two shits about how much you're betting, right? Are you a thrill seeker? And be honest that this is you, right? Some people there are for the rush, right? Thrill seekers escalate. 25 bets that used to excite you now have to be 50 or 100, right? If you're there for the action of the whole damn thing, right? If you're there to chase the ATS in craps. Now, there are some players I know that are full-on purebred ATS players in craps. They're there for the thrill of that big badass win. Some players chase that win and lose, and celebrate the big win. Some players are tactical about how they approach the game so that they can pay for the chance to win the big bet, right? There's two ways to approach that thrill of the ATS, by the way, in craps. Which player are you? Just rail dumping and hoping that it happens, or are you kind of doing this so that you can afford to make it happen? It's different, right? I think something tactical you can use is capping your maximum bet at 1% of your bankroll. Not 1% of tonight's buy-in, but 1% of everything you've got, right? And write that on a card and say no bigger than this, right? When the card says that's your number, that's your number. It's an interesting way to do that. You can think about your bet size being relative to your total bankroll. Are you an escape player? This is kind of dangerous for me, but some people are in this category. Right. And I say it with respect. It's a warning sign, right? If you're gambling to escape stress or to escape loneliness or to escape problems, right? Those problems will be there when you stand up and leave, but your money may not be. If escape is your honest answer, then deal with that separately, right? Deal with what you're running from first. The casino will always be there for you, right? But that's to me, a big warning sign. Are you a profit player? And I'm looking at, Dr. S. I'm looking at Waylon. I'm looking at Ken. Looking at myself, maybe. Do you have an actual mathematical edge potentially? You counting cards? Are you playing plus EV games? Are you playing video poker? Are you using a system that gets you out consistently with profit? That's a plan, right? Playing a negative EV game, expecting to win long term is not. You're an entertainment player in like a wolf in sheep's clothing, but if you're trying to earn profit and you're playing games in a way to earn you consistent profit, your mindset's different. Your why is to make money. I put Waylon, as he said earlier, in this category. He's trying to make profit, but he's trying to do it with an aggressive stance, with a different attitude, right? He's taking their attitude to them, right? Some of us are just trying to grind and build bankroll. There's a different mindset there, but your why is important. So after the video, a little bit of homework for you potentially, right? Write down your honest motivation in one sentence, and then look at how you actually play. Like, I play because, and try and make that one sentence. Then look at your actual play, right? Your game selection, does it match that? Your bet sizes, your time limits, does all that stuff line up for you? Okay. If you're an entertainment player, betting like a profit player, you're not going to match up. If you're a thrill seeker without any guardrails, there's a problem there, right? I think getting the alignment right is really important. Understanding your why and the way that you play and getting them to marry up is a big thing. We talk about that in the bridge. Your emotions, your strategy, your bankroll, and your risk profile all marry up, right? To have a good or bad experience. And I think that's an important thing to kind of keep it all sort of together. And that I think will help. It'll not make you win more or lose more, but it'll make the day match. And that's an important thing to me. All right. Next up, we've got the winning mindset. Now, what makes, and again, in chat, this is a good chance for you to kind of jump in here. What makes somebody a winner at gambling? What makes you a winner? Not luck, right? Luck is randomness, right? It's not secret strategies because they probably don't exist, right? It's not about, I play a ladder and that's the only way to do it. I think what makes you a winner is how you think about the game. And honestly, it comes down to probably 3 or 4 things. And we can categorize these. One would be like process ahead of outcome. Stop asking things like, did I win that hand? Start asking things like, did I make the right call? And that's a distinction there with a big difference. The correct decision that loses is still the right decision. And a bad decision that wins is still a bad decision. You follow me? Train on this. After your sessions, write down 3 like decisions you made, maybe ones that you struggled with, but 3 things you made. Not the result, but the decision. Did you hit the dealer? Did you hit the 16 against the 10 on the hand that you had the 3 splits and whatever? Did you make the right call and lose all 3 bets? It's okay. But did you make the right thing? Did you take odds on the pass line bet in craps when you should have? Did you walk away when you hit your stop loss? Grade yourself on the choices that you make, not the chips in your rail. I think it's hard to make that to draw that line, but that's one of those differentiators. Another thing is long-term thinking. A winning mindset thinks long-term. One session is noise. A week is noise. You can evaluate yourself over months, and that becomes more signal. Okay? Losing on a Tuesday doesn't mean anything if you made great decisions, right? Your tactical rule is this: don't even calculate your running total, or make it make it in front of your mind until you've logged 20 sessions. Log 20 sessions, then look at what you did, right? Log them. You can look at the numbers, of course, but they become important when you get to about 20. Before that, it's too small of a sample, right? Log your last 20 sessions, look at it, because if not, you're grading variance. You're not grading your skill. And I think part of your notes, and when I do the strategy loggers, we put in the date, the time that you played, the casino you were at, what you did, and there's a notes area to type in the notes. Log the decisions that you made. Okay, the next thing that I think that a winner has is emotional discipline. And things like fear, greed, tilt, euphoria, none of these are things that you should make decisions with, and none of them should make decisions for you, okay? You got to make the same play, whether you're up $1,000 or down 500. The strategy shouldn't change based on how you feel, right? A gut check. If you wouldn't make the bet when you first walked in the door with a brand new bankroll, don't make it now. My dad taught me that. He's like, when you're feeling like you need to level up, ask yourself, would you have made that bet when you first walked in? If the answer is no, then don't make the bet. Don't make the bet. Unless you're progressing a win or you're in a cycle where you're doing a certain move, don't make the bet that you wouldn't make when you first walked in. It's interesting. If the only reason you're pressing is because you're up, that's emotion, not strategy. If you're pressing as a way to play in a progression, that's different. That's a disconnect from emotion. And I think people like, again, look out there in the chat at Waylon, who has a plan for every bet. I look at Jacob from Raging Me This, has a plan for every bet. He can level up and press for the right reason. You would do it for the wrong reason. One's a winner, one's a loser mentally, even though the outcomes may be the same. It's really hard for people to understand, but I think it's important for you to be honest with that. And speaking of honest, be honest with yourself. Don't pretend you have some edge that you don't have. The math has the edge. Don't remember wins more vividly than losses. Don't rationalize your mistakes, right? A brutal test that you can probably take is to look at your last 12 months and say, are you up or are you down? I've asked you this question before. If you don't know the exact number, and I can pull up a spreadsheet and tell you my exact number. If you don't know that number, that's a problem. If you know it and you're down, but you're still calling yourself a winning player because a one bad session knocked your number down, that's a problem, right? Guys that play grinder systems, I'm one of them. Ken's one of them. Waylon's one of them. Win 100, win 100, win 100, win 100. 15 times in a row, lose $5,000. Okay. At the end of the year, if you're below zero, even though you won 90% of the time, you're still a loser. You got to be honest about that. And I can't say that enough. Big losses that swallow up small wins that leave you in the negative still make you a negative in the end. Even though you have a quote unquote winning system and you win more often than you lose and you walk away feeling proud and happy more often than you don't. At the end of the day, be honest about the results. A winning mindset, by the way, does not guarantee you're going to win money. It makes winning, I think, more likely, and it makes losing less expensive, and it takes some of the emotion out of both of those, which I think keeps you level set. But you got to get your thinking right, and the results, I think, follow positive thinking. Okay, next. Willingness. This one came from, I think this actually came from Waylon or Ken. One of those two wrote this one in the chat the day I was talking about what should we talk about on W Day. Willingness is interesting to me. The gamblers who last for years all have something in common. They are willing. And they're willing not just to win, they're willing to lose. And they're willing to do, I think, 5 things that most people aren't willing to do. The first one, willing to lose. Before every session, you say your buy-in number out loud. I'm willing to lose tonight, $300, whatever it is. I hope I don't. Right? Not saying, I hope I don't lose that. You're saying, I am willing to lose it. When I do the goal setting sheet, it says, in this session, I am willing to risk some number to win some number so that, and a reason for it, right? Every session I go, I have a stop loss, which is probably 0. I have a win goal, which is something less than double my bankroll. And I have a reason for going every single time. That number can't hurt when you say it out loud. You cannot say, tonight I'm willing to risk $5,000 to win $150. If that $5,000 hurts your soul, if your heart skips a beat when you say it out loud, it's too fucking big. Drop that until you can say it and mean it, and that's your actual buy-in. Without that, every loss will trigger a chase going on tilt. It'll click your emotions into a place they don't want to be in, and that will make you break rules. Okay? That number is important. What are you willing to lose? And you've got to be willing to lose it. It's got to be okay. I'm going to risk $500 tonight or whatever the number is for you. And if you light that shit on fire, it's got to be okay. High five the dealers. Give the person next to you a hug. Go get you a nice bacon omelet and be okay with it. You've got to be willing to do that. If you're not willing to do that, get out. You're in the wrong place, for sure at the wrong time, and absolutely with the wrong amount of money. Okay. Now, the other thing, be willing to win. And this sounds obvious, but it's not. Okay. Most people don't have a problem getting ahead. I've made this statement before that I can't prove, but I'm sure it's true. 90% of gamblers walk into a casino and are ahead at some point. 90% of gamblers walk out of a casino having lost money. That's probably a true statement, that 90-10 rule. Okay? Most of us are up at some point. Most of us leave down when we're done. We don't have a problem winning. We have a problem being willing to stay ahead. You're up $400 and instead of walking away, you give it back, or some of it back, or most of it back because the table was hot, or you're on a roll, or my friend's a great shooter and he's coming up next, or the dealer changed and you like Sally better than Dave and you want to play her shoe, right? Being willing to win means willing to leave while you're still feeling good. Hit the target, hit it, leave. Get out of there. The dopamine wants more. I get it. I also ignore it. You came to win and you won. You came to win and you won. Get out. Protect that shit, right? You got to be willing also to log things and analyze your play. Nobody wants to do this. It's homework. It's boring. But without record keeping, you're guessing. If you don't track the dates, the game, the buy-in, the walk away, how long you played, after 20 sessions, the data will tell you what your memory can't, which is what games you actually win at, what sessions you stayed too long at, where your leaks are. When I do this, by the way, what I find, as much as I love craps, my channel was called Pro Craps. For 5 years, all I talked about was craps. The game I play primarily in the casino was craps. You know what game I fucking win at? Blackjack. Blackjack. I play more blackjack now because I win more often at that game. Whether it's variance or not, I'm having better success building bankroll with the game that I don't love versus the game that I do love. Think about that. And without logging it, that would be a feeling. Seems like I'm doing better. The one time I won $1,000 a few months back on the craps table felt great. I'm winning at craps. But guess what? It's a different game for me. You have to be willing to look at that and analyze and go, man, that's where it really is for me. Most people aren't willing to do that. Okay. Are you willing also to admit that you're wrong? Your betting system didn't work, right? Your favorite game is bleeding you dry. The strategy you've used for 10 years has some flaw in it, right? Most players would rather lose money than admit they've been doing it wrong. Ego is wickedly expensive, especially in a casino, right? If your results over a good sample size say that your approach isn't working, believe the results. Like, it's like, I used to play a lot of Skill 66. When he first came up with that, I'm like, that's kind of a genius little system. I love it, right? That thing loses all the time for me. I just don't win with it. I've stopped playing it. It seems like it makes all the sense in the world. When I play it, I get killed for whatever reason, right? I'm willing to admit that a thing that I promoted and loved isn't working for me, so I don't play it anymore. I adjust it. I have different ways of playing now, right? Being willing to change course is what separates players who evolve from players who go broke and defend what they do, okay? Are you also willing to put in the work? Basic strategy in blackjack requires a lot to memorize. I got these cards. I know basic strategy cold. I still have the cards, right? When I train on my apps, I turn on all the alerts in case I screw something up, right? It takes days, hours to memorize things. Solid video poker strategy. Knowing all the moves takes time. You got to learn it. Buy the book and learn it. It isn't like you need a PhD. You just need some memory. It's a weekend of effort, and it's a daily practice that saves you thousands of dollars over your lifetime by not making dumb choices. But most players won't do that. They'll spend 8 hours a day, in crapsy, making dumb decisions with too much money, right? Use your time wisely. Are you willing to put in actual work? If you're a dice thrower, are you willing to put in the money and time to buy a table and work on it? That's the difference. Ed says it from Roll to Win all the time. Play like you practice like you play. But if practice isn't part of your life, then you're not putting in the work. If you're not going to put in the work, then don't go there and think you can win. Okay? The edge between an educated player and a casual one is huge. House edge is always aligned to perfect play. But when you're imperfect, you increase the house edge, the hold. You're giving up more money than you ought to because you aren't playing at the stake that you should be playing at. Okay? So there's 5, again, to recap, 5 ways I think you can be willing to lose properly, willing to win and keep it, willing to track your play, willing to admit when you're wrong, and willing to do the work. Most players can do one of those. If you can do all 5, if you're willing to do all 5, you have a shot. You have a shot of winning more often than you lose and walking out of there with money and enjoying it for decades. That's the difference, I think. So Be a willing player. Okay, next up and last up, I think, is walking away. Oh, there's one more thing. Walking away. This is interesting. Should be quick too, because every session ends the same way, right? You get up and leave. Right. At some point, you go away. The question is whether you choose when that happens or whether the casino chooses that for you. Okay. Walking away while you're up to a lot of people feels wrong. You're winning. The table's hot. It's been a great shoe, right? The longer you stay, variance will catch you. Variance is the big swings, right? And you might be on an upswing, but you know damn well a downswing is coming. At some point, you're in a variant. Every shoe is a unique thing. This great shoe may be the worst shoe on the next time, or the next shoe might be the worst one, right? It turns $500. Time turns $500 into 200. And time turns 200 into zero. And time turns zero into a loss. You've experienced it. You've watched it happen. We all have. Okay. Walking away while you're down feels like failure. You didn't get your money back. Okay. Your ego says stay and fight. But chasing loss is how $200 becomes negative $200. And every veteran knows that scar. We've all been there. The problem with both of these is the same. You're making the decision in the moment, right? When emotion is the loudest, right? The fix, make that call before you play and have the discipline to stick to it. Set some numbers before you start your session, right? What are you going to buy in for, which is what you're willing to lose? What is your win target, which is the number you're willing to walk with your profit? And what is your time limit? Because fatigue will kill you, right? If you're not at loss limit or win goal, but you're at your time limit, you got to stop. Stop, recharge, come back, try it again. Write those things down, put it in your pocket, put it on your phone. When any of those triggers hits, you got to be done. You got to be done. No negotiating, no one more orbit around whatever it is, right? That's it, right? Some people use the rubber band, right? They put a rubber band around their cash or their player's card. So when you reach for it, the rubber band is there as a reminder. It's a barrier to check wait a minute, do I need to really take this thing off and buy in again? Am I at the number that I said I was going to be at? Am I past my time? Am I chasing? I mean, it sounds dumb, but sometimes that works, right? You can do the parking garage test, right? When you're walking to your car or walking to the Uber, how do you feel? Like literally, how do you feel? Are you sick? Are you angry? Are you ashamed? Right? Did you lose $1,000 and tell your wife you lost a few hundred? Right? Did you stay too long? Do you feel good even after that loss? Did you walk at the right time? Are you paying attention to that walk? Like those, I know this all sounds squishy and soft, right? But these mind games that I have you playing are important. When you walk away from the table, how do you actually, are you like, fuck, like why do I keep losing? Why do I keep making these poor decisions? Right? And again, I've done this. Have you lost $1,000 or $2,000 and told your wife you lost a couple of hundred? Have you done that? Have you made that admission of shame? Or have you said to her, shit, I lost it all tonight. I went on fucking tilt. I lost it all. Right? If you set your walkaway time, you'll never have an uncomfortable conversation again. That's an important, with her or yourself. Okay? And everything I just described, by the way, assumes that walking away is a choice that you are capable of making. For most players, it probably is. For some people, it's not something you're capable of doing because you haven't trained yourself to do it, right? If you set those numbers and you blow right past them every single time, that's not discipline. That's a different conversation. The thought of leaving the casino creates anxiety or panic. This isn't about strategy for you. You're lying to people about where you are and how much you've lost. That's not a leak in your game. There's something going on that you need to really think about. Maybe that's the time to call 1-800-GAMBLER or see a counselor or talk to a friend. Gambling shouldn't matter so much. It's entertainment, it's math, it's a night out. If it feels like more than that, if it feels like oxygen, then you're not in the same category as somebody who I'm normally talking to who wants a rubber band in their wallet. You have a bigger issue, right? A smoker, and I was one, doesn't need better tips on how to put cigarettes out. People try to help me to quit for years and years and years. A problem, and how I quit smoking, I fucking died. Did I ever tell you the story? I smoked from when I was 15 years old until I was 35 years old, 36 years old. Right? I started when I was young, playing in bands and all that kind of stuff, right? Everybody, you got to stop, you got to stop. Just, have one less cigarette a day. Give yourself 19 cigarettes and tomorrow have 18, and before you know it, you're done. I tried everything. Cigarettes, as funny as this sounds, were my oxygen. They were my soul. I needed them to get through the day. What got me to quit smoking was when I dropped dead. I had a heart attack. I had open heart surgery when I was 36 years old. My daughter was 2 months old. That's what got me to stop. Okay. Luckily for me, drinking is not like that for me. Gambling isn't like that for me, but it is for some people. And if you find yourself in that compulsive, I need this, it is keeping me alive mentality. Walking away is not something I can just say, hey, you're up, walk away. You need to go figure that out. Real help, not from me. Okay. There's no shame in that, by the way. There's no shame the shame rather is in knowing that and not acting on it. There's no shame in having a problem. Trust. A lot of people do. Walking away for most players is a skill I think you can build. For some people, it's a signal, and you got to know which one you are. So, all right. The last topic here is going to be this, and it's what went wrong. And I think we talk a lot about logging. In every session, I think there's a lesson in every session. Most players never really collect because they either celebrate the win or bury the loss, and then they move on. But every session has a lesson you can learn. In business, and for those of you who are in the business world, this acronym will make sense. We do something called an RCA. It's a root cause analysis, right? What went wrong? We don't just say the project failed or we missed the deadline or we released the bug or whatever happened, right? We dig into why it happened because it costs money. It costs companies millions of dollars to make mistakes. It costs them double, triple that to make the same mistake. So we dig in and we find out what's going on. I think gambling deserves that same treatment because it's your money, right? It's a quick 5 minutes of debrief before you start your car, right? What are the 3 questions? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I have changed? 5 minutes. Think about that while you're walking to your car or while you're getting going, right? That goes into your log. That could go into your log. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I change? Those 3 things are a great way to kind of come back and go, oh, okay. And even if you won, those are great questions to ask because you might have made wrong decisions when you won. You might have won $2,000 and left with 1. That's something I did wrong, not something I did right. Follow me? You can also do the framework we call the 5 whys. Now, when I was in work, we did this all the time. It's a framework that it separates the surface level, like the excuses from the real reasons, right? You lost $400 tonight. Why? Well, I stayed too long. Why? Well, I was chasing a loss. Why? I lost a big hand and I got emotional and pissed off. Why? Well, I was betting over my unit size because I was up earlier. Why? Never set a win target. So I didn't have a plan. When you go why, the 5 whys we call it, every question is answered with another why question. You get to the real problem. And ultimately, it comes down to, as Waylon said in chat earlier, not having a plan in this example. 5 whys are a really powerful framework. And we use it at my jobs all the time because you get to something real. And every answer to the why is a problem to solve, but the ultimate root cause is at the bottom of that. And the root cause isn't bad luck in gambling. It's that you walked in and you walked out without a win target. It's fixable. Bad luck is not fixable, but you making shitty decisions is fixable. And that's why we're talking about this stuff. Most players stop at the first why. I lost because the cards were cold. Done. You learn nothing from that. I lost because the shoe was bad. I lost because, Ian threw a PSO on me. That's why I lost. It's Ian's fault. Didn't learn a thing from that. If you lost on one player's PSO, it's because you went out too heavy. You rail dumped, right? The 5 whys pushes you past that and into real mechanics of what really happened. I think that's a getting to the root cause of what goes wrong or what went right is important. So do it for the wins too, right? You won $500. Great. Why? I left at the right time. Why? Well, I hit my win target. Why did that work? Well, because I set the number before I walked in and I honored it. Okay. That's just as valuable as knowing what didn't work. Knowing what does work is just as important as knowing what didn't work. Pattern review. Okay. After 10 sessions, read it back. Look at your notes. Are you finding that the same issues are popping up for you? Your root cause analysis is pointing to the same exact problem every single time. Maybe you bleed more money when it's late. Maybe it's weekends, whatever it is, right? Maybe it's craps. Maybe you're playing the wrong game. I don't know, right? But it's an ego check, and it only works if you're honest about things, right? Writing ran it bad for every loss or a shitty shoe or whatever, it doesn't help you. You got to dig deeper. Writing I chased after 3 losing hands because I couldn't accept the loss, that's a root cause. That's the kind of thing you put in your notes so that when you come back and you go, God, I keep seeing the same things and it's always about me. It's never, in reality, it's never about the dice or the cards or the team that lost. That's never the reason. The reason you lose more than you should is always you. So take 5 minutes, start with those 3 questions, do the 5 whys every session. Treat your gambling the way a good company treats its failures. Embrace the failure. Don't just move on, lean into it. And the players who debrief themselves get better. Players who don't keep paying for the same mistakes, they never understand why. So I think it's important. Okay. And there it is. That's that is your W. And I want to sort of recap a little bit. It's the winning framework. And remember this, right? Winning at gambling is not about the results. The results are dollars, right? The results are random in the short term, right? You can play, again, terribly and win. You can play great and lose. It is what it is, right? Real winning is the framework. And if you know why you're at the casino, having a mindset that focuses on the process instead of the outcome, it's being willing to lose, to win, to keep track, and to admit when you're wrong and put in the work. It's having the discipline to walk before the casino takes back what you won. Being willing to walk before you give more back than you should. Being honest with yourself. Doing the RCA every session. 5 minutes, 3 questions, 5 whys. Digging in. All of those things make you a winner in terms of being a winning person. Does that make sense? I hope. And I think that to me is very important, right? Being a winning person is important. Having a winning mentality, a winning soul. Those are the things that matter. It's not going to change the dollars that you win and lose at the casino positively. It will eliminate a lot of the negatives. When you're in a bad headspace, you'll make poor decisions and give up more money than you should. You're going to lose over time anyway. Limit that and take away more of the good chimes. That is where I think most people get it wrong. And I think the math guys are right. Over time, you're going to lose whatever. I'd like to lose what I'm supposed to lose, not what the casino wants me to lose. And that's the difference. Be willing to lose what you're supposed to, not what they want you to lose. I hope that's a good takeaway for you. All right. Let me look at, is there any questions today? I don't see the chat's been kind of light the last few weeks. I don't really see any questions or PCs in here, but yeah, Daryl, the walk of shame is the worst feeling in the world, right? Slinking back to that hotel room and slipping into bed. Boy, that sucks, doesn't it? And we've all done it. We've all done it. And there's days where you're just like, God, and mea culpa. I do this all the time. Ian will tell you, I play with Ian a lot, right? I'm so disciplined, it's boring. But there are times when I'm just like, fuck it. And I'm railed up. You know what I mean? I do it all the time. When I'm buying for $1,000, I'm down, and I'm willing to lose the $1,000, and I'm down to my last couple $100. The last $200, I typically light it on fire. And that's a mental, it's a John thing, right? I got to get past that. And I know it. And I write it down and I say, don't do it again. And I do it again. We're all victims sometimes of ourselves. So just be aware of that. And I think that's an important thing. Lou, love you, man. Have a great weekend. You are welcome for my time. I love doing this every day. So, that's actually a good cue. It's 8:15, time to boogie. Let's get out of here. I'll give you your final, inspirational quote of the week. And again, it's the same one as before, which is this: just because you lost me as a friend doesn't mean you gained me as an enemy. Okay. Still want to see you eat, just not on my table. That's okay. There's no need to be a hater on anybody, right? We can disagree, agree to disagree, whatever. But we are at, like I said, you can be here. That's fine. You can separate, but just don't do this. We're doing too much of this right now. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Love y'all. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you Monday. We'll do we'll do X, Y, and Z next week, and we'll spend 2 days planning the next series out together Thursday and Friday. Until then, God bless y'all. Bye.